Feels like it's been a while. I've I didn't make a show since Doug Bartles called me the other night. We talked for a couple hours. I think he's doing pretty good considering what's going on in the world today and what a busy man he is. We're all busy right now. I've got questions about how do we get meth and fentanyl on every corner of the United States? I've got the screenshots to prove. Well, for every, you know, person in the United States, there's like 2 million people could be assigned to one person in the United States. There's nobody here. Statistically, we don't exist. And yet, I'm dealing with yoga, Buddhists. They can be enlightened. It seems impossible without the Word of God, the incarnate Spirit, the anointed Christ Jesus. We'll go over the Bible verse how the anointed was anointed with water that he built, maintains, sustains by constant vibration. Is the United States 33% of the population? I looked it up. It didn't give me an exact number. You'll see it says it's almost 4. Okay. What is wrong with calling evil acceptable? Well, we end up like this in this world, in this war, because that's what's happening. Ignore the fact we are not able to be shocked by child sacrifice and genocide in Gaza. Did we barely know it was happening until they made a big deal out of it? If we really ever to overcome our corporate mind numbing, we need to get a grip on. We hope that people would feel sad if we were genocided, hit by a tornado, needed water in the Superdome quicker than 5 days. Why is it so easy to play us like a fiddle? Well, because statistically we do not exist and they practically know everything the world thinks of. They plan those thoughts. By we, I mean me and other lovers of pure water. I'm telling you, since Doug called, what has it been? 3 days? I've gone over these notes and the things I have up in person with people, person here, twice, giving you this lesson, saying, like, this is why I teach it. I kept writing, call me a fool and fear hell fire. Silently let evil be admired. Mm-mm. I want to know if I have egg on my face. I think you should too. We need to be able to say, hey, it happens. And we need people to be able to point it out to us without hating them. I'm dealing with that right now with some people I know in town, or an old man is getting to the point of where he needs some reminders about a lot of things and he doesn't take it well. He can't take it well. Can't take it. You got toothpaste on your face. You got egg on your face. It's an attack on him. I need to show I have been put in my place. That's what I need to do at the light of his glory. He wrote the book. What I have learned, I've learned as a servant, that's what we're called to be. And that message really isn't hidden under a basket. It's only hard to accept. I think theology in God's timing must have needed someone like me that was not a part of the LGBTQT Jesuity Pope type thing where they wink at civil unions and, they consider themselves Christians, the largest denomination in the world, while paying billions of dollars to hush money all those years because of their stupidity of, oh no, priests can't be married. They make things up. Who has not done great things in his name, built great things in his name? Well, maybe that was how they were kept from knowing him, because many people, it says, could cast out demons in his name, yet he never knew them. That's something that, we can't have. We don't need that in our lives to worry about that. I know I am not worried about that. I'm truly sorry that the lesbians and the feminists are not sorry. I'm sorry you're not sorry. It's a feminist thing. I'm sorry women abort unborn developing human tissue. I know, because I put it that way because they go, it's just human tissue. Right. And it's developing into a person and it shouldn't be killed. I hate that they do that. I'm sorry. And I'm mad at the whole situation. The whole world is the world that's not our real home because they think the father is wrong. They don't like Abba Father. Everything should be Mary. She tones him down. He's too mad. You cannot believe the blasphemous teaching that comes out of the Trinitarian doctrine. Despairs and despising discipline, daily doubling down on this 3-card Monty scheme, this pipe dream, where we sit there wide-eyed every time. No, no. Well, I got to get to this show. I know. Like I said, Doug Bartles called, and you know, it was April Fool's. That's not good. I'm not good going through April 19th, which is Hitler's birthday. Usually I'm anxious enough because that's their playbook. But when there's already a war going on, it makes it even like more crazy. Welcome everybody to Mudflood was Armageddon. The Mudflood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you or me in a fair and honest way. If you see me doing a little bit more wiggly doing, it's because I'm sore. I tried this new exercise and I think I got too much twisting involved too early. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm stiff. Let's look at these pictures I have set up here. Here's a happy face. Look at now, that's what I want in the world. You know what she did? She just repeated as the champion of the US Jigsaw National Champion. I didn't know what it was, so I looked at the individual final. To me, a jigsaw is something that you use to cut corners with. You can slowly turn it, or drill a hole and run the blade through there and start cutting. They're putting together jigsaw puzzles, and she won 2 years in a row. And that, to me, is a good, happy. That's like That's not a sinful smile. And I just wish let's see. I think I'm gonna go back to the thing here and go back to where I started and do it in order. I only wanted to make sure I could show that. Like I said, it's been a while. You'd have to look at the pictures and see what I've been looking at, waiting for this time when we could get back together. I was looking for a way to tie in the rounding of the corners, the sides of your head. Don't do it. Jesus told one tribe. It doesn't mean you don't have to do it. You're not a part of that Hebrew tribe. You're not under that law. You're under something much better now called grace. But I do think you can tie, because the Mohawks did circumcision and other weird things. So always looking to tie in those things. Here's somebody going to introduce a secret society running Britain. Who were they? Let's see here. And for the rest, those swarms of black, brown, and dirty white and yellow people who do not come into the new needs of efficiency. Well, the world is a world, not a charitable institution. And I take it they will have to go. Yikes. That's what they did. This was interesting, wasn't it? Kind of weird. Hey, look at that. I noted. I saved this because of this. Sherman Williams, we paint the world. Well, you certainly cornered the market in the paint. Somebody told me they're all the same paint. Mystery schools. Okay. Intoxication trance. Eleusinian mysteries. It doesn't matter. I'm curious all the time about where are they getting their enlightenment? Why? What are they? It's going to be Jesus. Right now, it's about learning about Jesus. This says here, mother and daughters who were central figures in the story. The mystery schools of Greece usually have a woman in charge, and so do the mystery schools of Rome. It's usually the same thing. I'm going to double check and make sure. It does look like I am sharing the screen, and now I'm going back to those pictures. So it's the Druids and Gnostics. They kind of go for that esoteric, you know. There's that Starbucks coffee thing, and I think that's a mermaid woman thing. I don't know. We'll just have to see where it's going. I'm kind of like clearing my palate since the last few days have been very, very busy. What do we got? Another PowerPoint. They're always looking for their enlightenment in the Rosicrucian. It goes back so far. Okay. These things can't, this is what they're trying to sell us, because when they say common era, they mean, what we used to call Anno Domini, after his death, I believe is something. But they keep going back to this type of thing. And what is it really? It's the Kabbalah. You Kabbalah. These things aren't even real, these centuries they're talking about, but they redid it. They've got the Jewish people back in the news like that's really Jerusalem over there today. This is fun. I'm just clearing my mind and my picture so I can focus on this weekend. This is their holy weekend. We don't know. Like the weather, we get the calendar they give us. Medieval Operative Guild. So it was all about that. It was always going to be wheat and tares separating, but they were ruled with a rod of iron, and they had to pretend to be Christians. Now, these guys, old charges, they really did have secret societies and manifestos that they were writing in the 1614, 1615. That would be Julian calendar. It's the John Dee and the scrying stone, the same thing that their Mormon leader said, I can see through it. You know Joseph Smith? He used a seeing stone. Bruno's drawings. Oh man, that's the guy that Carl Sagan tried to prop up in the cosmos. They love it. Those that hate God love death, and they think they're going to cheat it somehow. Here's the formalized as soon as the Satan was loosed in 1711. They ran this out and said, we've been doing it ever since. Right. And leading up to Jeffrey Epstein world, Donald Trump world, George Bush world, Barack Obama. And don't forget Barack's whatever. What would you call Biden to Barack? Is it puppy? Sleepy puppy? Illuminism, conspiratorial misreadings. Oh, okay. Well, they're going to say that. You know, the Bavarian Illuminati, a lot of people think that was a nothing burger. I don't believe, I don't think so. I think Satan used them, still is using them. This looks like a Jewish thing here. I don't know. Is that a Nazi thing? 17 and 1800s, it was the century of the occult, along with all of their shakers and bakers and charismatic tongue talkers. I just decided I wasn't even going to try to rhyme it. Theosophical Society, still big. People study it today. Jack Parsons, they're sex fiends. They're the women who love to have abortions because as long as they get their button pushed, they're happy. Look, the Trinitarian requirement, invitation only. Well, secret societies now into the 1800s and the 1900s. Another odd fellows. The women were involved. These are women Freemason things, open to both men and women, both men and women. It started, that's pretty early. Yeah, man. I got a lot of these things. I was going to read them all, but you could take your own screenshots, get your own history. And they're into it. They go with that. They're enlightened, Aldous Huxley, 1984, Brave New World, same thing. They all had drugs for the wrong reason. For absolutely the wrong reason. But there's no getting around. If you're into short season theology, it's affected your life because I was doing mushrooms and LSD when the Lord showed me I should be reading the Bible like it was written to them and that the 1,000 years was past. And I think I mentioned Doug Bartles recently called. We worked together for a few years laying out that theology, and RJ was a big help later, but this is a part of it. Now, there's a big difference between you taking a mushroom and going to a rave and listening to the punk rock bands at Comet Pizza or reading the Bible and trying to figure it out. If you are a part of the short season thing, it's a part of your theology I was under that, looking for those answers. And they had to ban it. They had to say, it's worse than heroin. You cannot do it. I was in the peyote one. And, it's going to happen. It did happen. It's all part of what's been going on. I told you I looked for this one. So 1737. Anybody knowing about the Order of the Palladium? Glidewell Mounds. So I guess the Freemason Mafia were running a Murder Incorporated hit squad. Might have got vaccines. Look at that. They're given one dose at 8 weeks and another one at 12 weeks. Wow. In the third month of separation, the withdrawal of the child becomes complete. The infant assumes the pathogenomic position. Its expression becomes increasingly rigid, and the developmental level regresses. This is from the eugenics era. It's how you just, you slowly cull the population. And this is our recent history, less than 100 years ago. This was all white power, and the colored people here, some of them, they were allowed in their own little secret societies and they lived good, but whites and blacks lived like poor slaves because it wasn't enough to be white. Now there's unfit humans, and look at all of those things. Not going to be good until you kill them all. Man, that wasn't that. Now you wonder how come your grandparents were weird? So grateful for your pedigree of our pigs and chickens, and then leave our ancestry of our children to chance or blind cinnamon, tainted and pure. No, it has to be pure plus pure if you want to be normal. Anything 2 and below is abnormal, and it only gets worse. You can't breed a pure normal with a tainted. It's tainted. They think it's tainted. I don't. Oh man, it was a big part of it everywhere in the Midwest, Virginia. You could be a moron and you can still use work requiring reason and judgment. It doesn't mean you're not a moron to them. But I look up here. Who's this guy? Newport Beach. I was looking at that name. I think it's a Rosicrucian name. History of the money. Can't really read the dates, but I think we're really running out of money. They had money back in the day. Look at that. Darius the Great had a gold coin. There you go. Now I was reading about his father Pippin the Short, and I remember in their history in the Middle Dark Ages, this guy Pippin, he basically said, "When I die, I'm not leaving any property to my son. I'm leaving it to the church forever and ever, and nobody can ever take it away from you. And even if they conquer it under another name, it's always your land." Yeah, I just Pippin the Short. He did that. Historian of the Byzantine Empire states that this story too closely resembles a different story told about a later empress Theodora, wife of Theophilus, to be historically true. Right, because they copy everything. That's that whole flamenco thing, and I thought I'd throw that in there. Look at that. That's one of a Buddha carved out of a mountain. Looks like a mountain, but it's a carved Buddha. When they cleaned it off, they said, "Look at." And doesn't that look like an Olmec hat? I think they broke off this brother's nose. Part of it, because that looks Olmec to me, but it's not near where the Olmecs live. Hey, there's his foot, because it's a whole mountain. This is like something guarding the sleeping Buddha. They're crazy. They used to put a lot of effort into it, but today it's like, no, if you don't believe in evolution, we don't have time for you. So there's a different view of the head. Look, it goes, that's his neck. A lot of this is natural. Could be a sleeping giant, huh? What do you think? So is the United States 0.33% of the world? No, actually it's 4%, almost 4%. Says that it has about 420 million. Don't go firing up your joints. I asked us how many, what's that of the world? Oh, wow. So we're 4% of the global population, huh? Look at that. Here's India and China. They have the most by far. And wouldn't you think Russia, because they're so big? No way. They don't even have as much as the United States. They only have 1.9%. They're like Mexico, like Japan. Isn't that crazy? Brazil, Indonesia, United States, much bigger. Pakistan, bigger. Nigeria, bigger. The others. Well, I didn't see London and Great Britain, I didn't even see Spain. Russia is, yep, that was small. What's the Jewish percentage of the population? Well, there's 14, maybe 15 million, say, and they are basically concentrated in Israel and the United States. The Jews constitute 0.2% of the world's population. They live here. Let's see. Another percentage of the eligible Jewish population. Okay. Eligible? By what? Oh, look at as late as early, far, recent as 1994. You could have an underage girl singing "Age Ain't Nothing But a Thing" that was written and produced by R. Kelly. Huh? Isn't that crazy? Wow. Yeah, she was 15 and he was 27, and I think they were in love. Some more stuff from that. China. They're not faking. They're one like India. They really do have a big population. There's your thumbnail. What do you think that means? Rules against Colorado ban on, in quote, conversion therapy for LGBTQ plus kids. I even think it's confusion over what is the conversion therapy. It means that if somebody tells a child, you could be a girl trapped in a boy's body or vice versa, nobody can tell them anything that be negative, that there's a downside to that some children don't like it later, that they'll never be able to have children and things. Conversion therapy is trying to tell the child that it's not always a happy ending when you just change your sex before you can even reach puberty. But so that's out in the open now. They can't do that anymore. You can a guy or somebody could say, you know what, I don't believe in that. Let's see here. Kaylee Childs contends her approach is different from conversion therapy practices from decades ago, like shock therapy. Her attorneys argued that the ban makes it hard for parents to find therapists willing to discuss gender identity with kids unless the counseling affirms transition. That was the law. It had to always affirm that transition would be good. I looked up Beauvoir because it reminded me of the Bolivar. And but she groomed a 16-year-old. She had relations, but she's one of the most populist feminists in the whole world. Maybe we'll look at a little bit of that. Yeah, she signed a petition with the other intellectuals for pedophiles, but she is propped up. She is like Betty Friedan. Ecumenical dialogue between the two churches was suspended because Rome declared same-sex blessings and other because of Pope Francis blessings on homosexual unions. That's the world that's changed in the last 30 years while everybody's thinking, oh, it's all better. We got computers. This guy, a Jesuit, first time, because it's still against their rules, but they needed a Jesuit so he could prop up the LGBTQ people, denounce the laws criminalizing it, and, kind of lip service to abortion. But once you're down with the LGBTQ, you're not, so, they don't have the children. I don't know why I was screenshotting this. Easter's comes along some weird times, some different dates, and I was looking at them. Bimbofication. Did you see that the Ice Barbie? Her husband's busted for dressing like a girl. Look at that. This is a rap song. Alan Dulles ran the CIA. His brother was running the State Department at the same time. A network of journalists on the CIA payroll. 3,000 salaried employees worked for the news. Same playbook. They used it all over. The Banana Republics, those guys, the CIA, were the ones running it. We are this is a judgment for a reason. CIA front airlines, Epstein, back at the very beginning, take the money, funded them anyway, flew the DR Star GS back on the same plane. It means drugs. CIA did the Bay of Pigs. It was Angleton Dulles running their Banana Republics. Barr used to work for the CIA. Donald Barr, OSS, same thing. Jeffrey Epstein. It's all so recent because it really our whole everything is recent. This guy, oh boy. Did he really kill himself? The cameras were broken, the guards were asleep. Cut off all the Contra funding. CIA sold weapons to Iran through Israel. Oh, don't the times change? And he's still propped up as like a darling of the right wing. Look, there's the ice baby. Look at me, honey. Am I distracting enough for you? Ice Barbie. Well, how many white people are in the USA? So about 213 million. But in every little white town, you could get fentanyl or heroin because there's a million Chinese assigned to each town to make sure you get your steady supply. Their mafias and triads made it part of the deal. They got to be able to dip their beak. What? Huh? I left a snotty remark because I'm just sick of this guy trying to pop back up. He's got a new plays the guitar now, wants to make songs, and he's talking about how to watch out for it. I said, well, people should watch out for his theology. Your clown theory is evil and built on lies. I don't believe one word he says about how, oh, he was doing mushrooms and inviting the same entities all the time, and he figured out they were lying to him, and he should trust the book of Enoch and rededicate his life to Christ, or believe in the flat earth, then dedicate his life to Christ. It's fake. This is fake. I thought it'd be canceled, but it wasn't. They're going ahead with the faking of it. Ice, ice, baby. Yeah, and I just wondered, why is it showing Israel time? And this is live in Beirut, Tel Aviv, Cape Canaveral, the Israel time. They were trying to say, look, they're staying up in the morning during the war to watch our broadcast. She's the puzzling queen. That's the type of genuine smile of somebody who did something. I think she did something right. Holy cow, what?
In the late in the Roman Empire. So I have that coin there. It's just symbolic of that happening. Okay, so we're jumping now. We're moving from Rome and Italy. We're moving to China.
Go ahead.
Because the next part of the story, of this story about money, takes us to China, because the Chinese are credited with inventing paper, and they invented the first paper money. And we have an example of that here that we're going to pass around, but you guys can see it. This is a real life Chinese paper money. I want to keep it in this folder to keep it.
This guy is like a convicted criminal, but he's still out like today talking about the homes are going to be in foreclosure to children.
Before?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Oh, that's excellent. So, Ian, for that, you got $1 silver. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
How about that? And he gives the whole history to high schools.
Late in the Roman Empire. So I have that coin there.
I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but I looked his name up later. This guy here, Bob Klein. I didn't seem all that squeaky clean. Here's that place, that Buddha thing I showed the pictures of. He's walking. Looks like it could be an Olmec to me. Could be a sleeping Titan. I got some Bible verses and other things pulled up. Like I said, I've got to close all these tabs. You don't put your lamp, you don't light a candle and put it under a basket. Do you know your eye is the lamp of your body? When your eye is healthy, your whole body is full of light. But it can go bad, and then it's full of darkness. Darkness is no good. Look at verse 36. This is Luke chapter 11, verse 36. If then your whole body is full of light, having no dark part, it will be wholly bright, as when a lamp with its rays gives you light. Oh man, that's darkness and light. I know which side we want to be on. You know, are you glad that you're bored now? Would have been exciting other times. It's pretty exciting right now. Luke 11, chapter 11, verse 50. The verse before that ends with them, I'll send the prophets, apostles, some you will kill, others you will persecute as a result of this generation, as a result, this generation, so that the blood of all the prophets shed from the foundation of the world may be charged against that generation. The blood of Abel could somehow affect the ground where it would call out. What that Bible verse? Man, what's dark? Skotianos? Full of darkness. Well, we looked at that. Full of darkness, no part dark, holy light. Is that all? Huh. That's it. If you are filled with light, with no dark corners, having no dark part, be wholly bright, like that lamp that gives those. Huh.
History and craftsmanship are only part of the mystery of this building. During World War II, when heavy bombing devastated large parts of Milan, the Duomo somehow remained largely intact, while surrounding buildings crumbled. Allied air raids in 1943 tore through the city. Today, we'll take a deeper dive into some structures and sculptures and ask the question: the results of time, patience, and genius, or was there something more? Of all the old world cathedrals I've covered on this channel,
Just a little time.
Michelangelo is often regarded as the ultimate master of marble. Traditionally, his process is understood as purely subtractive: hammer, chisel, and relentless skill. Yet, even in his own time, artists operated within a workshop of traditions where secret techniques were closely guarded, shared selectively, and rarely documented. For someone as prolific as Michelangelo, it is highly probable that they claim could replicate these techniques with equal mastery. They even name names, but the examples provided always fell flat. Which is not the standard set by Michelangelo.
No way. What? I always wondered if that was true. I don't know. A lot of weird stuff going on. Here's something. You ever hear about the law of return? It's from July 5th, not the 4th of July. It's 1950, July 5th. Gives the Jewish people with one or more Jewish grandparent and their spouses the right to relocate unless you marry somebody from Gaza. Because in 2005, they said no. If somebody marries somebody from Gaza, that doesn't make them a Jew. You're not. You can't do that. So the law of return was passed unanimously. It was passed on the chosen date to, the guy that gave you Zionism, the father of modern political Zionism. That's a Christian thing from a false Christian teaching. Huh. Who knew? So there you go. It's called the law of return. You might want to look at it. There's so many other, you know, different things that they did, Hebrewisation of Palestine. Who knew that'd be a thing? Aliyah. Oh, I was going to look that up. Something in the Torah. Somehow, just like that Da Vinci Code. That was all just a big trick to get Mary Magdalene to be like, oh, you should check me out. So Simon Bolivar, I was looking ran across that girl, the lesbian weirdo. This guy, pretty big country, Venezuela, was a total Freemason that ran a country that somehow worked with Whitey, and now, to the point of where, a country with as small as the United States can just hustle over there and kidnap their president. I guess he got elected. So here's the social theorist, feminist. Everything's brand new. She didn't, you know, the guy is getting married that year. But it's all about that, second sex, feel sorry for women. They did it. They changed the world. Women, ISIS, Colombia, uh, more women than men in college, and still it's a ripoff. They're sorry. You're not sorry. We're not aborting enough. It's women like that. She was a part of the intellectual group. All the, United States does not have the majority of the people, might have a lot of money, but not all of it. Now, the Panama Papers, let's see, this was 2016, they 200,000 offshore for rich people. These are hundred millionaires. They hide it. They've been hiding it. They will continue to hide it. It's people that that you've heard of. And they do it for, things that they don't want to let you do it. You want to start a small business selling cupcakes in Saginaw? You better learn how to do the tax haven thing, because this was only one of them. Look at that. Stanley Kubrick was on there. He had 20 million when he died, invested much of it in the 1700s built house where he filmed a lot of his movies. I guess to save money, because he was into saving the money. He's looking for a tax haven. Here's another thing. Pandora Papers. That's not the Panama Papers, but the same thing. Leaked documents, 111 million leaked documents. Consortium of journalists got their hands on it. 2021. Heads of state, business leaders, billionaires, celebrities hide money, stacking that money. You don't get none. You get the price of bread going up. You get the price of the gasoline going up. You ever heard of these guys? You ever heard of any of these people? Well, they all got the offshore. Even the Argentine president and his spin doctor. If you want to call me King Abdullah, Panama and Pandora. Well, even Shakira and the models saving the money. They must have got the good advice. I didn't see Jeffrey Epstein's name in that. Paradise Papers. Now it's up to 13 million. The legal firm Appleby. This one got the princes. So they all doing it. You got to go offshore. Were they hiding the money? Is that what they were doing? What was their problem? Exposed. You don't have to worry about getting exposed, because they're not gifting you $1 billion, but they're setting people up. Here we go. Did you ever hear about this? The water. Let's look at it as the water, knowing that the heavens did pass away with a roar. They were burned up. Good thing that some people were hiding in the mountain saying, hide us from the wrath to come. Let's read it though. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 11, since all these things are thus to be dissolved, what sort of people ought you to be in lives of separation and godliness, waiting for and hastening the coming of the day of God, because of which the heavens will be set on fire and dissolved, and the heavenly bodies will melt as they burn. But according to this promise, we are waiting for new heavens and a new earth in which righteousness dwells. Don't let people twist this away from you. Now, verse 5. Some people at that time were deliberately overlooking this fact that the heavens existed long ago and the earth was formed out of water. It was formed out of water and through water by the word of God. And that by means of these, the world that then existed was deluged with water and perished. Wow. Not a very overused word, is it? Shall melt. The elements are going to melt. Apparently, a verb meaning to liquefy. Melt. Oh, we've seen the warning, Micah chapter 1, verse 4, the mountains will melt like wax. So, one's good. Want to read it? The heavens are going to be dissolved on fire, melt away in flames, hurrying it along. Here's another one. Oh, same thing, existed long ago. I have to go back. Wanted to make sure I hit that verse, obviously. Isaiah 34:4. Here we go. All the host of heaven shall rot away, and the skies roll up like a scroll. Okay. That's not the same language I hear somebody saying and thinking that, wait, that's me. I was thinking it because I was going to say it. It's that same melting away thing. Stars falling from the sky like withered leaves from a grapevine. Huh. Let's look at the dissolving here. We didn't get much dissolving in the New Testament. We get two with the wear out, dissolve, consume away. Really a good. You hope for a strong root word with 10. You only get 10 chances. You're glad that the majority of the word is in all of them. Rot away, fester, wear away. Melt. It's going to do that after it melted. Dwindling shall be dissolved. These heavens dissolved. Ezekiel confirms it. And you know what? This is part of the full-time repenting. It isn't a one-time thing. Don't tell me, I'd change that day. Yeah, right. For the rest of your life, you never had to, crucify yourself daily, fight those thoughts, be glad when you fight those thoughts. And, you know, it's a daily, lifelong. Remember the disciples of John the Baptist? They were still out. They weren't saying, I repented. They were preaching the gospel of repentance. They had to get straightened out by the situation of the whole dealio. What am I looking at here? Thelo. This is your innermost heart, what it longs for, your deepest desires and wants. Oh, and he would have comforted those children. You know he would. It looks like it's going to be pretty easy, right? It's what you desire, what you can do, what you're willing. I mean, this guy, you willing to be clean? Yes, I am. Well, just I guess going to see Jesus was enough to prove it. Desire compassion. I desire to have mercy on whom I desire to have mercy. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is just all my algorithm thing here. Look, it's always going to be just like they try to run this thing down my throat. Why did it go to the middle instead of the top? I'm going to hit it again. Okay. Here's like this guy describes the books really good. He talks about a lot of things, and he's on to this January 6th bombing. They had a pipe bomb, and he's pretty sure they're blaming the wrong person. Well, let's just check in on.
Worry. And then Blaze muzzled you. They told you that you were no longer able to talk. Correct?
I was muzzled within 24 hours of the publication of our story. Within 12 hours of the publication,
right
of our
after
November, they were in absolute panic lockdown.
So here's what I'm envisioning because
And I'm no fan of the Blaze, the Mormons that put it all out. This thing, but it is a thing where it's all coming true, and now the people are being exposed like never before. This is one
Take
day
a look
ago.
behind the curtain with a real whistleblower in America.
At my home, you can expect to stay there permanently, and we'll either let somebody know that they can come pick you up. Takes us to where we are today. So we're going to go to the gag order first so you guys know what's at stake here. Now, the overwhelming idea in the gag order is that all things are fair play for the public except things that county alerts, because we've got I guess.
Have you seen the evidence that they put out about the person they're blaming? They showed it was a cop. It was a girl, a training thing that went wrong, and now they're blaming it on a black man with autism. I'd like you to see some of that. I wonder if he has any just straight up videos on it. Well, I don't want to go out of my way to go. We should be watching him day and night. I think I showed this guy, the holy banker, the guy who did the Vatican Bank and got that to where it'd be for men only, which makes me suspicious of Mother Teresa, the only woman they ever allowed to join it. But was she really? Because she certainly is not all she's cracked up to be. This guy, you might want to, if you're doing anything, look him out. I pointed him out again. It was because it's brand new. He basically set up everything before World War II, and they kept track of it. Again, still looking for information on these type of a situation. Hagios just reminding you again what is holy, separate. It's the sanctuary. It's pure, blameless, consecrated. It's holy. It's the saints. It's the same word. Saints means separated one. And this goes all the way to Revelation, where there are no special ever words for, well, these are end time saints. That's Zionism. That's bringing Zionism into premillennialism. There is no special saints that live 1,000 years. Christ ruled from heaven. what is sackcloth anyway? Because, well, these people, the Roman Catholics, wear these things that they use to punish themselves. There's one on her leg, you know. You've seen it in the movies, how they do it with Opus Dei. But was that really? And this is, needles. There was a girl that said she had to wear it 2 hours a day when she was a member of Opus Dei. But in the Bible, sackcloth is something that's black. I believe that black is black. Let's see here. The black horse and the sun became black as sackcloth. That's pretty convincing. The New Testament sackcloth, black, could be goat hair. That wouldn't be uncomfortable, but it's not what they're used to wearing. You've seen how they dress. They were pretty fancy dressers. New King James Version, I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood. You see, I don't see them trying to hurt each other in that. These guys do it too. They all do it. They all believe in the Trinity. They all believe in Mary. This is a Marianite church. One of the ones they call the oldest, but as long as they believe in the Trinity, that goes back to the Middle Ages, there'll be people fighting for it, man. I believe that's where we're at. There is neither Jew nor Greek. It's been a couple of days since I looked at this. Hellenistic Judaism, wisdom literature. I'm going to have to be honest and say they've got a nice church, but I really don't want to get too much into it unless I knew what I was talking about. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, I kind of want to get this. Everybody still thinks
17%.
money.
And we covered that extensively in all of our videos.
So, is it buy silver, sell silver? What should we do? Everybody's going bankrupt. We're exposing they're going bankrupt, but they're still trying to sell you something. This is
Blue Owl just got hit with a.
So that was one I had from yesterday. They're going to do it. But by the end of the show, Steve is going to be trying to sell you something.
Market continues to go up. What happens when you hit those mid and short-term trigger levels is that is the biggest buying power you can get. And I've never once in all the years I've been tracking machine positioning, I've never seen those two levels that close. So we already know going into next week, B of A's machines are going to taper off of theirs by today.
So it's always going to be an opportunity to make money until you can't go get your money out of the ATM. Here's this Solis. Is that how you pronounce it? Solis? Also known as a sackcloth? I don't think so. No, that's not what Christians would do. And I don't think, a lot of these people do it, It is something I saw. I was interested in that the modern Opus Dei, they're doing it. It's not for you. Everything that you're teaching is going to be wrong. What does it even say here? A woven fabric. It's something that, if you'd see even how they decorated their horse when they went to Nineveh and they put sackcloth on the horses. Well, normally they had their horses decked out in gold. Hair shirts. I think this is a way to prop up that Noahide laws coming in with the charismatics, the Mormons. and the Rome will be right on board. So here, they got they have people today whipping themselves in the street. The pictures show that it's not just for fun. They were whipping themselves, man. What is meaphism? Is this Pope doing something? Certain circumstances, the faithful to receive the sacraments of penance. So I think this is one of these things where the Catholic, Oriental, Easterns, Protestants defined Jesus as one person with two natures, divine and human. Well, if everybody else is in the world is in on it, I'm probably not going to be in on it because I don't see anything except, our creator is Jesus. There is a spirit thing. And when it vibrates and makes the earth for an object lesson for angels, because, the reason earth was created, the reason Jesus came to earth was because to deal with sin in heaven. See the first epistle of John, chapter 3, between verses 8 and 12, I believe. So we can't believe these people. We can't believe these popes. They got us into this trouble. They could say they're against abortion. I doubt it. They were the pedophiles before the Epsteins. They paid the billions. I believe that their satanic circles are deep, deep. This man was a Jesuit, and you're not supposed to be able to have Jesuit probe. He's into it. Probably said, go read the stories at the library. And then he's only in because this guy resigned because they said, you're not doing enough to fight pedophiles. And he said, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I quit. It's too much. And so they had two popes for a long time. All going back to this guy. Servetus. Sounds like Michael Servetus, the guy that John Calvin had killed. I believe that was who it was. And this goes back to Antioch, the place they first called them Christians. What was he famous for? Rhetoric, philosophy, studied the work of the fathers. Okay. According to this is a word that's going around now. The child who is for your son will strengthen orthodoxy, and his name will be after your name. Okay. Alexandria, Greek Bible. So this is where it was all Trinity all the time. And they were faking the Muslim religion at the same time. The Middle Ages is a catch-all for the rewrite of history. Now that's keeping it short after I've caught up after missing a few days. If you didn't know, I heard from an old friend, Doug Bartles. He seems to be doing well. He seems to be looking at the scriptures. He's been on a lot of preterist websites, a lot of things going on. The things in my life are crazy. School is crazy. I came here because I was coming back because it would be safer when this happened in the mountains. And as long as I was coming, I might as well go to Adams State University because it's tied into the Epstein case, because Bill Richardson, the governor, recommended her. And then I found out the previous governor sold the Zorro Ranch to Epstein and then was good friends with Bill Richardson, the governor. It's all paying out for being right here. And I'm on the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico right now. How convenient. Thank you, Lord. So we'll see what's going to happen. But it's not all going to be good. But hopefully you'll win a jigsaw puzzle thing along the way. So remember, it's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. The excuse is you've got an orphan trained brain. They did it to you. You were given to them between the ages of 3 and 5. A globe was on every desk. I don't care where you went to school, what color you are. Evolution has been your best friend. Flat Earth is the only true sign of a fool in a world today. No, the Bible's what's true. It is a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamen. Adios, amigos. From the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico. You know who likes to say goodbye like that.